Good evening and welcome to PhanTV. I'm Dan Breen.
I'm Matt Cavalieri.
Okay, starting off with the team news. No new injuries, which is always a good sign. Also on top of that, both Maris Sidins and Joseph Steeldogs returned to the ice this weekend. So, Matt, Maris's injury?
Thankfully not so bad in the end. As it was suspected, it could have been a broken bone in the hand. Luckily, it was just only bruised. I know it's playing it down a little bit, but at least he managed to make it back to the ice and play both games, play a full weekend.
Definitely. I think a player that looks like they're out with a broken hand, to be able to come back and play less than a week later, actually I think says quite a lot about Maris as a guy, really.
Absolutely. I mean, he's got a lot of character. He obviously wants to play, and it's definitely big kudos to him for that.
Excellent. And also Joseph Steeldogs impressing in his first league game of the season as well against Swindon. Very solid at the back, I thought.
Absolutely, yeah. It was cleaning everything up there that our forwards weren't able to stop. But no, I think he did a very good job. Throwing some hits around as well. So it was definitely doing the right thing out there.
Excellent. Okay. Now looking at the league position so far. We're 2, 3, or in some cases 4 games into league campaigns. Guildford doing very well, sitting out front on goal difference over Slough. Our opponents this weekend, Bracknell, they're sitting there in 4th, and Sheffield now in 6th. So not bad for them.
So yeah, looking at around the league, particularly at the Bees, we've got them on Saturday. They did lose Rob Lamy during their win over Bison on Sunday in Sunday's game, but he is expected to be playing this weekend. And also you got Tom Annetts as well was a key player for him last weekend. Did a really strong performance, facing over 80 shots, backstopping to a 4-point weekend. So looking pretty strong for them at the moment.
Absolutely. I mean, also we're expecting to see Ollie Bronneman icing for the Bees again this weekend, having missed out. Now, looking at the Bees going forward, 3 key players I think we've seen for them. Smittle and Massa, they've always impressed on whichever team they've been in. And they seem to be doing the same now with Bracknell.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely. Not only that, they have been putting the points up. They've been, banging the bodies around as well. And then you've got a guy like Marcel Petran as well, who's he's not a huge defenseman, but he's big enough and he's doing a job for him, putting points up, and he's standing up for his teammates as well.
Okay, now thinking of Marcel Petran, that then moves on to our opponents here at Planet Ice Arena in Peterborough on Sunday, Sheffield Steeldogs. Now they don't seem to be doing that good so far this year.
No, I mean they've only got one win in the 3 games. I don't know whether that's a byproduct of only having like the 1 game last weekend and maybe not having their the full kind of rhythm of the normal league campaign. But yeah, at the moment they've only got the 1 win. They did put a good performance in against Manchester in the War of the Roses, so maybe they're kind of suffering from that.
Indeed. I mean, you do have to wonder, are they missing Janis Oslins and Ben Bounds?
Yeah, quite possibly. They were key players, for their last campaign. So, it's a high possibility that they're the guys that are making the difference. But looking forward, they've got some other guys as well that have come in, and they're looking to make an impact on that team as well.
Yeah, I mean the 2-way ride between Hull and Sheffield seems to have brought them Campbell and Road in.
Yeah, Campbell. Well, to be honest, he's a tough guy. I think he can play a bit as well, but he seems to be standing up for his teammates at the moment. And then you got Rodin as well, who he's been putting the goals away, putting the just racking the points up. So he's I think that they are two pretty solid players that I think we definitely would need to look out for this weekend.
Yeah. Now there was also another incident from the Bracknell Sheffield game that I think is actually quite telling, could prove quite illuminating for this weekend. Marcel Petran put in a clean hit against Andre Payet, the Steeldogs coach, and, well, for want of a better phrase, leader. He went down, didn't return to the ice, and then I believe Derek Campbell stepped in to say something about it afterwards.
Yeah, definitely. Petran, he basically pasted Payet. Well, it would depend on which account you listen to, but one side says he pasted him, the other side says that it was a good clean but you know, kind of maybe a little bit high hit to the, you know, to him. But yeah, Pyatt went down, and then Campbell steps in, you know, as a complete, you know, just throws a wobbly and you know, drops the gloves. But Petran, you know, managed to deal with that as well. So yeah, quite impressive performance from him by all accounts.
Yeah, I think really players to look out for if you're looking at head-to-head, there's got to be Josef Sladok and Marcel Petran. So they certainly appear to be very similar styles of player.
Yeah, definitely. You know, quite hard hitting. Obviously, they rely on their size as well. But I don't know whether we'll be looking out for them to go head-to-head this weekend. But certainly, you know, I think they will be having a similar sort of impact on their respective clubs. Excellent.
Well, that game, Peterborough Phantoms versus Sheffield Steeldogs, will be this Sunday at 5:30, Planet Ice Peterborough here in Bretton. Now, I suppose, and finally, we mentioned briefly league positions, with Bracknell currently sitting 6th, Sheffield sitting on 6th, sorry, Bracknell in 4th. A few Bees fans won't be too happy if I demote them 2 places arbitrarily like that. But I've noticed that the Phantoms currently sitting in 7th, above both Swindon and Milton Keynes. It seems to be causing a little bit of controversy around, well, amongst certain fans anyway.
Well, to be honest, it's a technicality at this stage, but you know what I mean. The real reason it's an administrative error. Eventually, you know, that's going to get sorted out. But it is at the moment it is making some waves around the, particularly the Milton Keynes forums. But Dan, really, what's the importance of league positions at this time of the season?
Well, I think if I'm going to answer that question honestly, it's none at all. We're 2 games into the league for us. We're sat in a position in the league. I think at the moment it's irrelevant. The league is a marathon, it's not a sprint, and 2 games is not a marathon by any stretch of the imagination. So for the minute, I would say league positions, forget it. They'll chop and change massively, even as little as over the next 2 weeks. So that's all from us. If you're here on, come here on Sunday, 5:30, Peterborough Phantoms versus Sheffield Steeldogs. I'll be here, Matt will be here.
I will be indeed.
And hopefully we'll see you here as well. Bye for now.